Flat Earth British, Martin Liedtke speaking. Hey guys, good to see you. Things are a bit weird, agreed. But it's the great Flat Earth British think tank Flat Day special, and it will be special. Okay, there'll be plenty in this to ponder. So we're gonna have a good time, okay? And fuck it is what we're gonna do. We'll have a talk about things, obviously, along the way, but we're going to have a think about things, okay? Now, I have, being a truther, maybe 100 different ideas of what could be going on concerning that C word, which you don't want mentioned anymore. Could be a magic spell, okay? Evil invocation of the C word. Don't want to hear it. Plus, I'm sick of it. So what we're going to look into is antiquity. Now, if you see the title of my vlog, Reset, nothing is new under the sun. I don't think anything is new under the sun. I picked up on a bit of an investigation. Some stuff we've been looking into in the past, and I'm going to run it by you. Let's see if this makes any sense, okay, concerning what is happening now and what they can do with us, which is seemingly anything. Tell you to get from your home, we're taking you to camps, because the city's infected. Whatever. Anyway, that's regardless. The ideas I posted yesterday on my community page. Well, you know, what do we think this is? And overwhelmingly, people said that they think it's a psyop. It's a red herring or a distraction or a cover story for something else definitely going on bigger, which I agree with. Okay. So we're gonna have a little think about a case that we've been looking into, San Francisco, okay, and other ideas of what could have happened to San Francisco 1902. Okay, now we're not talking about the technology that destroyed it, but what the reasons may have been. And we talked about this for quite some time, and it's been bugging me for the longest time, but I think we may have overlooked something in this case, guys. So that's what I'm going to look at. We're going to look at libraries, images of the day, and we're going to look into comets. I got an old book from a reset year, which I will show you to be a reset year of 1665. Wow, it's getting stormy out again. Which talks about comets bringing plague. It actually talks about it killing, like, literally, I've tallied up millions. I don't even know there was that many people on the plane at these periods. Everything from it killed the Tartars, plague, to comets the size bigger and brighter than the moon, bigger than the moon. Poof. And it's just like an crazy death toll, plagueage, connected with this comets. Now apparently, according to this book, this is all a reality, okay, in this book. But first, let's make some sense of this. Now please make sure to subscribe, because it's coming up to 13,000 again day, which would be epic. And I've been busy all week on other stuff as well, posting stuff on my other channel, keeping stuff, you know, going, and loads of announcements, and all my other formats have been absolutely buzzing. You know, everyone's just coming this way, because we've been talking about reset and this stuff for years. Okay, but like I said, something's been bugging me for the longest time, and now I don't think it bugs me anymore. See if we can solve a case in antiquity together, which could have chilling, like, you know, ideas for the future. But considering we're epic peeps, what you must do, which is highly important, guys, okay, despite all what they got, you know, all the ideas they got for us that we don't know, we're all sitting ducks waiting for something to happen we don't even know what, is we must not invent thought forms through fear put in our mind from them, because if everyone does that, it may become real. Okay, what you have to do is see, like, beautiful new era after all this bullshit is gone and they're gone and everything else. Time for the people again. Okay, I thought I'd seen an orb then, don't know. So it's a wonderful time as well, epic, because we're in historic times. I'm doing an historic post. Why is it historic? Because I'm in lockdown during pandemic. If you even know what's going to happen next, you know, they got this British politician, right, the most insipid fucker you've ever seen in your life, Michael Groves. He's one of these Phoenician wet lip fuckers, yeah. So why they put him as, you know, I was embarrassed to be British seeing him. I'm out anyway. See him, like, fuck. So anyway, he's like, so what he says is we've just ordered 33,000 new beds, so they can be empty with all the other beds in all the other hospitals, is it? And all the morgues you're setting up and all of the ships you're bringing up for all the other dead that haven't arrived yet. So like they're sort of telling you, like, you know, well, we're getting ready for all these dead that haven't arrived yet. Oh dear. Fear not, Pete. Fear not. Fear is a destroyer. Fuck it, honestly. Just want to, like, you know, what we're all scared of anyway? Dying. Yeah? What do we know about that? Sweet fuck all. Yeah? Intend positive outcome. Up your vibration. Spiritually align yourself to meet the day. Is what I say. Peace and love. Now, San Francisco. Now, we've looked at this image and footage here maybe a dozen times, guys. I have picked it apart. While you're looking at it, if you're new to my channel, I'm sure all subscribers will know all about this. It's Market Street in April 1906, 2 days before the entire city is destroyed in apparently an earthquake, which is only like a quick shudder for a couple of seconds, and then a subsequent firestorm, hurricane firestorm, which incinerates most of the city and clears entire tracks. We have noticed this is off. It seems like the Cecil B. DeMille movie script, because he had hundreds of thousands of bloody, literally, of extras in his movie productions. The suicidal nature of everyone. Everyone's like just going to kill themselves at any moment. People are cutting in front of a electric tram. They're just going to like squish them and have a metal rail, you know, sever them. They don't seem to be bothered at all. Nobody. It's haphazard. It's chaotic. Now, what they want you to believe, we can't really put a date. I've been trying to get a date on this, but they're telling you it's then. But I suspect about that now, because of the nature of the people, okay, and what is going on in the city at the time, which we didn't really know about, or I never knew about. So it goes down to the terminal. The ferry terminal seems really important. It never fell in the earthquake. It suffered a crack, and it's the first building, like in San Francisco, to be scaffolded out again. Now watch the crazy suicidal nature of people. Oh, you fucked up the movie scene, mate, and nearly walked in front of another tram. Did you see how unnatural and fucked up? And he stared at the camera because he knew he was there. You see what I mean? People, miles down, guys, turn around and look at the camera because they know it's coming. You know, like you have in movies when they're like, somebody stares at the movie in a ship B movie and it's like, you killed that scene, but they're too cheap shit to edit it out. You know, that sort of thing. So like, you can't really do take two in all of this, can you? And the crazy nature of the people. I'll show you now. Get further down to the ferry terminal. People just try killing themselves, no problem. Oh look, what are you looking at? And there's a kid in a cart. He seems to know it's there when he comes down there. Further on down. People aimlessly walking around. No one's got shopping bags. It's like, where are you going? Just walking around aimlessly. Really unusual. Oh, this one's really weird. This guy nearly kills himself. Watch this one by here. This knobhead. See? Do you want to die? How many of them are just gonna, like, if that was a reality, guys, right, and this is not staged, there would be must like 20 fucking deaths a day on this road plus. Everyone's just jumping in front of fucking trams. There's another one further on up. He's a right knob. He's like, uh-oh, there's a tram. I can't hear it because I'm completely deaf and fucking stupid. Look, don't worry. Stare at the camera. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. You all know it's coming. And 1906, such an early age for such film and crystal clarity. After this period, the film goes really downhill. Yeah, what period are we actually looking at? Take note of all this architecture, please, on the right-hand side. How big and posing it is. And this thing didn't get taken up, by the way. There you were. You silly sausage, fuck off. So carts do not work on cobble, look, guys. Look. Kid, you're gonna get Squished. Get off the fucking road. Do you see what I mean? Everyone's like it. Look. Just gonna die. So it's a really haphazard, chaotic nature. They've got no order. They can't just go up and down. People have got to fucking risk their lives for no apparent reason. And we're not only witnessing this, we're in other cities too. Maybe it was just a chaotic nature. Maybe everyone was just... There's cutting up and there's cutting up. Maybe everyone's just plain fucking nuts. Who even knows? So, gets down to the ferry terminal. Check all of this. Yeah, check this building here. The size of its granite and its architecture, all Phoenician, old. Now we all should know the narrative. See the kid looking? I shouldn't say the kid. It's it. The child. Boy. What? So, see what I mean? Everything's so unsafe. So we knew the camera was there because he turned around and waved. Everyone knows it's there. This movie set. So 2 days later, so that I think they put that in there for a reason. Now this is a couple of days later, and it's the most eeriest film I've watched it maybe half a dozen times. And what it is a couple of days after, exactly the same street, everything is gone, and all of the people are all coming from the ferry terminal with hardly any bags, no bags, all clean, well turned out. Okay, now what we discovered, okay, is that they set up a load of FEMA camps like literally the same day as this is happening, and they went up to like maybe 100 FEMA camps. I know the narrative is they were unsanitary, etc., but that's not what we witnessed in the photographs anyway. All of these people have just arrived off the ferry terminal. This is a couple of days later. Where are they coming from? We thought that the city was an Italian city. The residents had been killed by something. And then there's this firestorm, earthquake, and then they bring in new residents. When you arrive in a city, these people, they don't even look at the architecture. Your mouth would be open, you'd be mind blown. They're directionalized. They're just walking in one direction. They're looking down. They got like, you know, some speed in their step. You know, they know where they're going, every one of them. Okay, hardly any belongings, and they all come in one direction. As you get down to the call centre, which survived architecturally, but you know, it appeared that it got taken out from the roof first. The roof was on fire before the rest of it. So you do get civil guard around and stuff. So where are they? Are they arriving off the ferry terminal to go and occupy, you know, tents? These, what, they had like prior knowledge to the blitzing of the city, and they all left and went over to Oakland or something, and all come back on fucking on ferries after the event. Is that what happened? Take a look at them. No belongings, all well turned out, clean shirts, clean clothes, nobody covered in dust and shit, so I could safely presume these people are not from this city. Look at this guy with his newspaper and his fucking crusty white shirt. So remember them buildings I showed you on the right hand side? Just completely empty, gone, a lot of them. Yeah, that's that one. So sailor, got umbrellas, and none of them are covered in shit, and they're all walking one way. Very, very eerie. So we thought these in the narrative we've been talking about were like reset replacement populations for the previous occupants that have been eradicated in an event. Any truth in that? Who could have done such a thing? And why, and what would be the motive and the circumstances? This is interesting. All these lot just arrived. All women like they're tourists in their gowns, clean shirts, clean clothes. Whatever is going on. If you might know, tell me what you think. I'll hit you up with an idea. So I was a sailor, but he's still got a gun, so they're all coming from there. Anyway, what you find is a very selective earthquake, because what you find is a lot of places are seemingly unaffected and some are just completely devastated, as you will see now. This is more days after the events. So at first I thought, well, there's the tent, okay, refugee, etc., which is the one tent, alright, but everything seems intact, including the telegraph poles. But you get further out and everything's just disappeared, like disappeared. So not too bad. Look, nothing. It's very selective. Some rubble. These buildings are all fine. Yeah, a big masonry civic building which got steel structure inside, that won't survive. Yeah, that won't survive, you know, at all. That'll just, you know, turn to dust and it's big granite. In fact, how does that happen? How did all of these buildings burn down either side in the firestorm, and the fire skips all of the telegraph poles and all of the trees, which we see all of the time? Okay. So 3-day firestorm, and not everywhere is affected. It's almost all over the road there. It looks like mud. There's not snow, is there? So queues. Alright, I get that it's after an event. Food queues. It's a Pierce store. Okay. Not too bad there either. Mud flooders. Older world, which I show you now. And you get out here into more, you know, central Bay Area. Just as far as the eye can see, it's just like, looks like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or Dresden, or Tokyo, or Berlin. Is that worse than Berlin? There's no shells left. Everything's just dustified, gone. On this side. Okay. Now, I know we've looked at this before. Let's just go into Market Street again. A few days later, there's much more happening. Much more people, much more activity. I'll link these up so you can spend more time looking at them yourself. All coming from the one direction though, but they're more in the rubble and sorting stuff out now. There's completely different action to that first film we watched. Still the new arrivals. Okay. All the way down to the ferry terminal. Right. Now, would it interest you? Let me show you this as well. This is an archive, excuse me, let's figure back, of San Francisco before said earthquake, and what you get is an older world. Now the narrative is, you know, the gold miners or the gold prospectors built all this shit, and it's all come up since like 1830s, 40s, 50s, and it's all there. But unfortunately, excuse me, they show you a really older world of beautiful architecture. Chinatown's a bit of a, I was going to say, shithole. There's no one in the streets. They're all completely empty and they're muddy. You get duck boards as well, but the architecture is just massive, you know, considering there's nobody about. And the population at the time just doesn't warrant these massive structures of these hotels. Massive doors, massive windows. Excuse me. This architecture's massive. Is that a door down there? Sure is. And a lower level down there with the railings. So another mud flooder. And San Francisco before the earthquakes. And I think that Chinese boy is probably, if he is Chinese, maybe not, he's trying to tell us something. What you get with this San Francisco firestorm is it's always, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, just a wall, like a mile high wall of white smoke. You can't see what's happening. In my mind, be sporadic fires, you know, would it all join up and just everything would be smoke? I don't know. And then you get these. This one is Ladies Protection and Relief Society. Oh God, that sounds fucking iffy. And it's just this house out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can hear you scream. Cosmopolitan Hotel. Massive doors for the previous occupants. Because I think that we used to coexist with bigger people, like giants. And we're going to look into these a little bit. There's a narrative as well with the cemeteries of San Francisco. Very, very weird and spooky. Jerusalem Cemetery, or the Jewish, cemetery. Look, duck boats, wood, and it's just all mud. But yeah, you got these big stone structures and still mud flooded. So they got to, hang on a minute. So they put like wrought iron around the bottom, you know, a retainer for the mud flooded structure. Yeah, they couldn't put a sidewalk. How would they get the stone down to build the massive fucking big church? See my problem? Residents of some rich fuckers and a Moorish field Italian beautiful building, summer house on a lake of the Woodwards. Ugh. Look at it. Phoenician decoration, wrought iron all the way along. So ornate. Beautiful world. Mud. They got pavements on. And these giant buildings. This one's covered in ivy or something. Out in the middle of nowhere. Protestant Orphanage Asylum. So because they were orphans from some anomalous reason, you know, where's all the parents for all these orphans in the fucking first place? And of course, you know, church orientated. And they stick you in an asylum. Fucking vile. Duckboards, mud. And that is the orphan asylum, which is sick. And Jewish synagogue. And they've got an armory building, which happens to be a small castle in front of the synagogue. Union Square. I wonder what they're protecting. And house moving. But I noticed they didn't do it with stone ones. It's just a wooden one, isn't it? And mud flooders galore. And this is on apparently Alcatraz Island. See? Just massive architecture. For a city is not supposed to be that long. And the influx of people, there's also a question with that as well. Look at this, post offices. Now, we've been on about post offices for some time, guys. Far from it, Battery Street, as in battery and electric. Custom, well, like in customs of people, custom houses are all identical no matter where you are. Sydney, Cape Town or Cardiff, they will look exactly the same. Greco-Romano type buildings. Post offices, all Greco-Romano. Yeah, Phoenician overtones, etc. And all will be mud flooded. Post means past. We don't think that you need is to, you know, I'm just going to post my letter. So we've got a little tiny bit of fucking paper. Go in. This massive building. To stick another little white bit of fucking paper on it. And give it to the guy behind the counter. See, in my mind, that's just bullshit. You can do that in a kiosk. You don't need that. You don't need it in this day and age. So these things were something to do with the reset, as in post. Maybe the survivors had to go there or something. To a post office. And there's Presidio and Golden Gate from Russian Hill. And it's all mud. Mud. But a nice big building buried in the mud. And they bring in a lot of wood. But after the event they bring in a shitload of wood. Howard Street, look at it. Is that just fuzz or is that mud? It's like old Britain. Oh, it looks like old Anglican church as well. Just looks like a British street, San Francisco. Crazy. And there's that cliff house that falls into the water. So look at these, see? All lower. Rainings all around, mud flooders. Huh. Alright. So the doors are up there, in the air. Okay. And then you've got the stairs going up to them. And then there's all this lower level down here. The railings all around it. And there's a plot next to it. Looks like there's something there before. Okay, so there you are. San Francisco before the event was a very beautiful city, except for Chinatown, looked like a bit of a shithole, and there's no one around either. Okay, no offence to Chinese, obviously. Duh. Anyway, would it surprise you to know that San Francisco had a plague prior to this event of 1906? Not only that, there's a bit of a sinister overtone, which I'm about to talk about. Just prepare myself, I'm not in a ready mood at all. My mind keeps detracting because I'm a fucking getting. Make sure to subscribe, please, in the weirdness. If you're sat in your house now, you know, feeling a bit weird because like of what's going on outside and you got to stay in, etc. Just fucking lay your head down. Because you're worth it and not give a fuck because you're in front of British company. I'm sure all you people in chat are having an epic time. I don't want to fuck it up now with loads of reading, but I'll give you the narrative and I'll pass you the link of what this is about. They had an epidemic and they had a media storm in San Francisco prior to its destruction. As officials spread disinformation, a deadly epidemic edged its way to the United States, and they tried to stop it spreading into the rest of America, guys. Yeah, have a little think of what you think they might. What methods do they use to get rid of cities during plagues? Just have a guess. Anyway, let's have a little read of this. So for many people, the words Black Death and bubonic plague invoke medieval world. Specifically, the 14th century pandemic that killed millions throughout Asia, Africa and Europe. Or perhaps it calls to mind the 17th century London, where famous outbreak felled 20% of the population between 1665 and 1666. And then there was a fire that destroyed the city, so ending the plague, apparently. And I got a book from this, which I'm going to look at in a minute. It will blow your minds. So anyway, prompting diarist Samuel Pepys to write about bodies piled up in the streets and endless tolling of funeral bells. A bit like we hear now. Maybe that's to come. And those were just two of many plague epidemics during the past 1500 years. In the 19th century, China, Hong Kong, India endured devastating bouts of disease, circumnavigating around this place, moving from port to port. And then turned to the 20th century, the dreaded plague found its way to the United States, where obstinate politicians and brokers concerned more about commerce than health tried to pass off evidence of the plague as fake news. Nothing new under the sun, guys. Nothing new under the sun. Anyway, so this book's about an unfamiliar outbreak, the Black Death at the Golden Gate, the race to save America from bubonic plague. Okay, it's been written by this dude. So in December 1899, the plague made landfall in Hawaii, still 60 years from statehood. After several deaths among Chinese immigrants, the local Board of Health quarantined Honolulu's Chinatown, trapping 10,000 residents within an 8-mile block space, patrolled by armed guards. Many people, including some doctors, believed Asians were carriers of the strain of plague. Any of this ringing a bell? Writes Randall, the remainder of extreme anti-Chinese sentiment at the time. So a lot of hate, and what you see here is a place on fire with this big blanket of cloud going on. When the disease spread beyond the barrier to a white teenager, then they took notice, who subsequently died, and the panicked board turned to a more drastic solution: purification by fire, and burned down an apartment complex that housed 85 Chinese, Japanese and Hawaiian residents. The officials attempted to recreate the Great Fire of London, another fire that ended a plague in the city, apparently, but on a smaller scale. That fire was widely believed to have hastened the plague's end while reducing most of London to ash. Well, that's debatable. In Honolulu, burned down a couple of buildings in the harbour's germs didn't have the same effect. So doctors had recently identified the rod-shaped bacterium pestis as a source of the plague, and now a consensus of how the disease spread. Nevertheless, Hawaii's health official remained undeterred, so that the plague claimed more victims. Officials responded by setting fire to more structures, and in January a wayward ember sparked a chaotic 18-day blaze which finally stemmed the epidemic. So, to be clear, they burnt Honolulu to stem the epidemic. So at least one American doctor, they're blowing smoke up this guy's ass a lot, and I'm really into it. But anyway, he gets called in, but he's to work, okay, in the nation's largest quarantine station, which sounds impressive, but it wasn't. It was Angel Islands in San Francisco Bay, okay. It was short of potable water, littered with garbage, and ill-equipped for medical research. Humiliating setting for a man with such great distinction. They called him the lab rat. Anyway, so this guy basically wants to bring in a vaccine on the Chinese, but worse. So King Young was a prickly man, and he had already bristled when San Francisco's Board of Health and the coroner had disagreed with him over the cause of death of 2 sailors. So when the Chinese immigrant named Wu Changqing died in 1900, showing signs of bubonic plague, especially painful swollen lymph nodes called bupas in the groin area and the neck. King Young and the Board of Health were again set for the confrontation with city officials. Refusing to wait on Kwan Yun's painstaking identification of the bacterium, they quarantined 20,000 residents in Chinatown. One newspaper calling the disease largely racial. Informed its white readers that there was no cause for concern, adding the most dangerous plague which threatens San Francisco is not the bubonic type, but instead a plague of politicians, writes the San Francisco Chronicle. Likewise viewed the quarantine as a scheme by officials and the Board of Health to boost budget appropriation. That corruption was rampant by the mayor, blah 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 blah. Okay, you know the score. So they blame the Chinese, it gets violent, and this guy, local officials played down the threat of plague to protect interstate trade and travel. City physicians also rebuffed King Yong's professional opinions. Reporters mocked him, and even Wayman, his lily-livered boss, caved to politicians' pressure and withheld his support. But then more bodies began to turn up, abandoned in alleyways, boarding houses. The city responded with inspections in Chinatown that were at best demeaning and worst violent. Then the same officials came around with an experimental vaccine made with plague cells sourced from cadavers. Many Chinese residents believe it to be an attempt to poison them, in fear that continues to underpin the anti-vaccination movement, most recently in the United States with measles and Africa with Ebola. Nothing new under the sun, guys. This is just crazy stuff. So now with the footage that I just showed you, you're wondering in your mind if this is a protocol for getting rid of plague, because it turns up in San Francisco just before. And not only that, it sparks up again in these FEMA camps that are set up in San Francisco at the time. So it's quite a creepy, but they put it down to rats and pestis and living conditions. But as time moves on, the plague wore on slowly but steadily, and there was more than 100 deaths by 1905, and then it seemed to disappear. It seemed to disappear because they had that event that made it disappear. Maybe in 1906, the earthquake that leveled much of San Francisco and forced its citizens into unsanitary refugee camps failed to summon the dreadful disease. But in May 1907, the plague returned and claimed several more white victims. Yeah, we don't worry about anybody else, just the white victims. But anyway, So is this what we see with these FEMA camps? We see these FEMA camps, I have showed them. Unsanitary, well, I don't know, they stayed there for another year after this, because apparently they had bubonic plague a year later in 1907. So it looks like a holiday, doesn't it? It looks really nice, doesn't it? Even getting clotheslines. Unsanitary, what are the huts? I'm not so sure that's the case, but yeah, they set up FEMA camps. Like literally, we've counted maybe 100, maybe they have camp 100, 150, excuse me, 117, and they are refugee camps for apparently these people have turned up with all clean clothes. They haven't been in an earthquake at all because there's no dust. Not many children, just the one there, 2, 3, 4, very few children. No Chinese I can't spot in any of these pictures. I suspect something may have happened there. So very interesting that they would have a plague there, and then the city disappears. And they're showing you even that they did the same for Honolulu, you know, all politically motivated in this case, but still an agenda. We're moving on. So here's Chinatown in the 1800s, late 1800s, end of the 19th century, so say 1899 or something. And look how old these buildings are. It's supposed to be 50 years old. It's already mud flooded, low windows. It looks really old, like hundreds of years old. So let's have a look at these Chinese that have had so much problems and now with these diseases. Same, exactly the same now, I suspect, going on. What you will notice is they're all dressed identical, like state clothing, like they do in Mexico, and it's white. They're all like, you can't, honestly, they're just all exactly the same. Some of the kids are not dressed, like they got this sort of silk stuff on. The women don't seem to have these uniforms on, but she's got feet bound. Ugh, that's horrible. So they're out in the park, and they all look like, you know, oh, it's Westerner. Same hat, same clothes. Across the duckboards, is it? Oh, that's the tram lines. So in Chinatown, that's nice. But look at this again, low windows. Again, huge doors, previous occupants, old building. Something's been built there, late 1800s. But things were built, obviously. And if you did that in this day and age, he's cockeyed as well. He looks fucking mental. He gets shot to shit in a fucking martial law case. And there's a guy on an opium pipe, probably an opium den. They were legal back then. Yeah, smacked up. It was vengeance for the 2 opium wars. And nice cobble. Shit for wooden carts though. I bet you get a really bad back doing that. So Chinatown. So they're all dressed the same. They all look really alike, don't they? If they were all at their backs to you, you wouldn't know who is who. But you don't see them in any of the Survivor pictures when they're queuing for food. That's the boss, I guess. It's boss fat fuck. Shitty, he owns the shitty wok. And they seem a bit wealthier. Maybe they're triads. So yeah. What we got here is another narrative, very unusual narrative, guys. The cemeteries of San Francisco got moved for some weird reason, and they got all of these smashed up and they dumped them in the bay, so you didn't see the Greco-Romano architecture, so they say. Could this be connected with the resets? And how many people are we talking, considering we know the amount of people that's supposed to be there? Before the city of San Francisco voted to stop burials within the city limits in 1900, there were at least 30 cemeteries in use or abandoned here, including one right on the spot of Dolores Park. Today, there are only 2 cemeteries left inside the city limits of San Francisco: National Cemetery and Presidio Masonry and Dolores Cemetery. Okay, but most of the deceased residents previously buried at San Francisco were moved to cemeteries in San Mateo County between 1900 and 1940. They moved all the people, all the dead bodies. How many? Fucking millions. 2 million. To the town that would be eventually known as Colma, which now carries the distinction of having more dead residents, 2 million and counting, than living, 1,500. Unfortunately, for anyone trying to find burial records, this migration from San Francisco to Colma is spotty. So there's no evidence. Some bodies were exhumed and buried in mass graves. Others were transferred to new coffins with incorrect information, and others were left behind with original resting places. Sinister. Why are they moving all of these cemeteries? Well, they say it's because they're grabbing the land. And they were here. Like these. So they dig all of dead bodies up and they move them up to Colma, to be clear. And all of this architecture you see here, apart from 2 that are still existing, that one's gone. 46. They took them up to World War II to get rid of them all and clear the areas for housing. So a lot of people are living on dead bodies and ancient burial grounds and old burial grounds in San Francisco. Fuck me. So I'm not in a reading mood. But basically the big 4 cemeteries, this is the interesting bit, is tragically almost none of the elaborate neoclassical monuments in the big 4 survived. Tombstones were discarded into the ocean or broken up unused for construction. You can actually spot pieces of the graveyard in Buena Vista Park. So I'll give you the link. There's more information in there, but it's very interesting. They got rid of the architecture and there's no records really. It's very sketchy or spotty as to the moving of 2 million dead out of cemeteries in San Francisco. Do you find that intriguing with what I just showed you guys? When the earthquake happened, it basically showed us an older world, which is not supposed to be there for America. And the narrative here is basically the Asian Art Museum building site, okay, cemetery, and they dug it, and this is the interesting part, is they found 18 bodies. This was on a site where the City Hall was in the 1906 earthquake, okay, so where the City Hall is, or was, excuse me. And this goes on about the discovery, but this is the interesting part. The remains of 18 people had been uncovered in wooden coffins, found in neat rows 25 feet from the sidewalk, 13 foot down from street level. So what are they doing down there? 2,000 years of worm poo, disposition, floods from, that's deep in the nation fucking Rome. Yeah? Proof. We're all the world. What about Chinese empty cities? Is this a part of the narrative? We've looked into empty cities for quite some time, guys. Why are they building cities? Were these occupied? Or for the coming reset that's been spoken about? Yeah. Or were they occupied at some stage? Entire cities devoid of people. They say it's because of an economic problem and they couldn't get the people. Yeah, they still carried on building the fucking cities because they don't do futures or anything. They can't really gauge the you know, them 20 cities that we built nobody's living in. Should we build another 20 more so no one can live in them either? All empty, guys. Does that make any sense to you? So I feel that with that's happening in China, who knows if, you know, there's been fucking like cultural revolution ×2 going on. You don't know how many people are getting killed. We don't know anything out of this place, but the fact still remains, they got giant empty cities there, and it's got to be part of the narrative. Right, that's that part. So just to revise that, guys, a minute. Looking at San Francisco, and they had a plague just prior to the San Francisco earthquake and devastation of the city and firestorm. And they show you in the narrative, they use this protocol on Honolulu on 10,000 residents. Did they actually kill those 10,000 residents, guys? They had armed guards around the enclosure. Now, talking about the dead, there's more dead in this book than all the tea in China. Excuse the phrase. I won't go too much into it because, as I said, I can't really concentrate. I got pandemonic on. Anyway, so it's fun. I hope you got happy hats. Hope everyone's happy. Okay. Make sure to up your vibration. And all happy things. Okay. Now this book is from a very interesting year of 1665, so just prior to 1666, when they burnt London down apparently to get rid of the Black Death, apparently started. So they want you to think, oh, this is probably them anyway, to get rid of plague. This whole book is apocalyptic. It gives you a history of all of the comets that have shown up, all of the sort of empires that have fallen, kings, and the whole thing is World War, and everybody dies. So they talk about this, the comets, the discourse in natural effects of comets, philosophically, historically, and astrologically, with a brief yet full account of 3 late comets or blazing stars, okay, visible over Europe. Okay, now this blazing star is creepy. Blazing star. These blazing stars threaten the world with famine, plague, and wars. To princesses death, to kingdoms many crosses, to all estates inevitable losses, to herds men rot, to ploughmen hapless seasons, to sailors storm, and city civil treasons. So, chaos. And this book talks about chaos. So I couldn't really tally up the dead from all these events, but I can't imagine the world population being so much. It tells you things about like a plague killed all the Tartars, among other peoples as well. Giant events in Constantinople. Some of the events we talked about, like Flanders, as in the St. Felix event, is in there as well, where they say 400,000 are killed. Like, what, in Flanders? Well, there's that many people living. So is that all of them are dead then? Because it can't be many more, because it's like, you know, that early period of 16, you know. In this case, it's 1559, so it's another Flanders flood, which kills 500,000 people, and it's not the Felix flood, which kills a million. How many people are living in Flanders, for fuck's sake? Is there that many there now? Anyway, comets the size of the moon, brighter, some that hit break up, and the killing of extremely large amounts of people. Christ, basically it says a Christian king was killed with plague, so, you know, a famous one. Can't imagine who that is. So let's have a flick through some of the stuff. I have time stamped a few pages, but I don't want to spend ages because, like I said, it's like fucking it's pure reset-y, innit? You know, I've always said that phrase, and all reset-y, and now it's just like, it is reset-y. My stomach's rumbling. My stomach's been in somersaults since, like, that word pandemic been playing around in my head. It's like, come to terms with it now anyway. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not even surprised by that, if I'm honest with you guys. No, I'm not, because, like, you know, sort of sneaky feeling. So anyway, it goes into comets turning up, the 1664 one, and basically it brings, according to this book, terrible plague apparently, and before they show as well as when they show. So I'll give you an idea of the amount of deaths that we're talking about. There is one narrative here I read about with the killing of the Tartars, but I'll have to find that because basically my head is not there. So yeah, so you get like the Great Plague at Constantinople, where 160,000 people die. King of Poland at World Moldavia, 4,000. It goes on anyway, about like huge amounts of dead. Okay, I'll give you an example. There's 500,000 a bit later. Cattle dying, here you are. 400,000 people drowned in Flanders holiday and cattle, and that was in 1569. Yeah, they got the right date. Cool. So they give you the dates and what apocalyptic thing was going down. Okay. The Turks seem to have a bit of a shit of a time. They lose, and by the next page or so, I think it's probably 250,000, but whatever. It's fucking Armageddon time. So God, it's really bad, that storm out there. Again, storms now, is there? They're on about fucking snow now. Excuse my language, guys, but I'm sure you can just forgive me in this case, because, like, they're resetting us. Any arguments? No, it's true. God by nature intended by comets to ring the knells of princes, esteeming our bells of churches upon earth, and sacred enough, and such lustrous and eminent persons. Oh, that sounds a bit like elitist and sucky yuppie fucking thing. So, what things we got? Like the size of the moon. One the size of the moon on this page. I'm going to give you the book, go through your own. I've given it out to other people. So basically the entire book is narratives for comets bringing apocalyptic events. Okay, and I don't want to go into too many details, I'll read them out, but like this one, like this Saturnian nature one, sounds like Saturn comet, doesn't it? So what does that bring? Okay, natural consequences of brings famine because of like climatic change, like all of the floods that happened just prior to the plague. That must have fucked up the early spring crops. What if snow messes up the seeds now? Would there be a worldwide shortage of food? Who knows? Plague, exile. Oh, that's not good, is it? Penury of grief, trouble, and vexation. Anyway, so cold air, snows, blah blah blah. So yeah, it causes changes in the air, which I've posted about recently as well. So, cometh the comet. So page 40, it talks about killing 250,000. Excuse me, Turkish. We talked about that. This is 44. What's on here? 46. So I just read that. Yeah, that's apocalyptic happenings again. Page 50, it talks about death of Christian. This one. Many cities in the land of Christians. The mortality of the kingdom of Babylon was taken out as well. Giant earthquakes there. Earthquake, great sicknesses. Have faith. The immigrants and deportation of many cities in the land of Christians. Oh, it's just like worse than John Strews. The whole world's apocalyptic in this book. Great mortality in the kingdom of Babylon. Signified citizens, depopulation, Christendom. Anyway, it goes on to say, where's that bit about a Christian king? Oh, there you are. A great king of the Christians shall die, and then there'd be wars, and then in the land of Babylon. So what Christian king they were talking about in this period, and connected with Babylon as well. So yeah, the birds, the famine, thunder, lightning, lofty winds, tearing down trees, gales, hail. So basically it's a book of apocalyptic happenings created by natural events, a comet's arrival, according to this book, natural events. What else we got? So I wonder if that's Christ they're on about. It talks about Phoenicia being reset as well, parts of it, so maybe that's what happened to Babylon. I think it got reset. Kingdom of Babylon here as well, see? Great mortality, they were dying as well. The Phoenicians were not immune. It's a Phoenician disease, if it is one. On here, last page, it talks about Phoenicians quite a bit. And it comes up, excuse me. There you are, the Phoenicians. So all of these countries were affected, look. Practically all of them. It's like the whole world is affected at this period, which doesn't surprise me. When I used to go on holiday with school, I used to go pony trekking in Llantoni Valley, up the Welsh valleys every year. I used to absolutely love it. Best holidays ever had in my life. And let's go back to page 80. And there was a church like was dislodged and like hanging down the side of a mountain, and the official narrative was basically an earthquake. And yeah, they say there's so many earthquakes in Britain in this period of 13th, 14th century. We don't feel in them now, are we, guys? So this is this great troublesome blazing star that brings the world famine, plague, war, etc. These are them cube within cube within cube things, and it's a constellational chart. Just about working it out. Just know all the symbols and what they mean. So interesting. I don't want to be reading any more up, but it is mind-blowing, all of it, guys. Nearly everything you read in it just splatters your head. It's just like, wow. So it's plasma discharge, apocalyptic events, kills 500,000 in fucking Flanders alone. All related to comets. But they do talk about Tartaria, they talk about the Phoenicians are included. Judicium astronomical, like there's some sort of justice or balancing, you know, like getting rid of all the crappy people or the evil people or the people who have basically fucking blown it. It's like not like they've had plenty of opportunity to mend the errors of their ways, because they have. Ignorance is not an excuse. Anyway, moving on. So I'll pass you that book. It's pretty epic. Well, all of it is just crazy. Every single narrative is like the end of an empire, a king dying, apocalyptic event, famine, blah blah blah. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. So, new narrative now. This is a brilliant link. We're going to look at Washington DC, and we're going to look specifically, and all in a minute, at the Library of Congress, which you can get photographs of being built. So I thought this was fascinating because it gives you a before and after in Washington DC. So please feel free to subscribe. Let me check the time, because otherwise this is not going to be up. Oh, we're fine for time. Got another 30 minutes. No. Okay. So what you get is before and after. So you've got this old beautiful Tartarian building, and then you go. So all of that's gone on that side, and that's gone a nice building. This one on the corner's still there. Yeah, that's still there. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go another one. What's this one? Masonic Temple. Okay, let's check out the Masonic Temple. So nice. Let's move it up a bit. Oh wow. Look at this building on the corner here with the railings, this one. Yeah, it's still there. See this, what's called a corona. Oh, I said the fucking word. That's the first and last time. Check this out, right? This is retardation or hiding of another civilization. Why would you replace that building, right, with no offence if you live in there, that piece of shit? Yeah? What's that, fucking Torremolinos? Yeah, is that Ayanapa? San Francisco? It's your style. There's your style. They got rid of it though. They replaced it with Aya fucking Napa. Build a condo. Canals. This has taken alterations as well. See this warehouse? Mud for the windows. See this bank? They widened it. They upped the path, dried the canal out because they don't need that anymore. But that mud flood is still there. So, yeah, they paved paradise. Put in a parking lot. So look at that building there with the clock. Is that still there? Sure is. What about that building on the corner? Nope. That's gone. Place for that. That one's still there. Well, on the other side. That Greco-Romano temple. Bang on the same place. And that one behind it's a replacement. No, it's not. It's the same building. No, it's not. No, it's not. Interesting. Don't worry, I'll link it up to you guys. What's this one? Washington Loan and Trust Building. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, that hasn't changed, has it, much? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, that's the other side on, I get it. No, it's been extended. Or is it a completely different building? No, it's the same. Right. Yeah, then. It's been extended out this way. Later, 1907. The arcade. So you had a beautiful bit of arcadeage going on. Nice little Antiquitech tower. And what you replace it with? 2050. Oh well. Well done, civilization. Fucking utter wank. So what did you have? Is that a train station? You know, it's a market. Oh, we got a lovely market. Technasmia Port. So what's there now? So it looks like anywhere in the world, doesn't it? That could be anywhere. Cardiff, Birmingham, fucking anywhere. Just poo. Look at that. Yeah, no. Almost breathtaking. It's crazy, isn't it? Verizon Centre. Okay. So nice little architecture. Trams and then puke. Like anywhere in the world. So this is coming down to the Capitol building. Capitol Hill. Is that still there? No. Just crap. Crap. So, oh yeah, this is a really interesting one. You can get photos of this being built. Can I trust them? Not really sure, to be honest with you. They are very well placed. It seems mud flooded, doors up in the air. Looks exactly what we're looking at. But yeah, they got photographs of it going up. So that is it in 1898. They took the bollards away for the Ram Raiders nowadays, or the terrorists. I noticed the terrorists have all packed it in and gone home for the season. Maybe they're all scared in. Maybe they're in their caves. So there's oh, it's the Thomas Jefferson building. Thank God for that. Yeah, but you can get photographs of that building being built. The library. I'm sure I looked at them. So then they got this. Is like just a big field, and they show it from the bottom up. And then you get this big structure at the end. So they definitely built that one, and that's all that's fake. And that's in Washington as well. We'll have a look at some images of the day of these libraries in a minute. This library, this one here, is this insane narrative. I don't even know. Well, I do. If you looked into the narrative of Carnegie libraries, you know, he bought a couple of libraries in my city as well. And he's, you know, Carnegie from New York, Carnegie Hall. Well, but this one I've looked at before. We've shown it a bit, guys. It's from Cincinnati. Look at this for a wealth of knowledge. And look at this innateness, the old age of this thing. So what happened to it? Oh, the usual. The usual. There it is now. So it's no offence again. Yeah. It was beautiful in the past. It's now a piece of shit. And then he torched it all on the books. Same happened to the Birmingham Library in 1900 mark. All the information of the old world still existing in there. Gone. They got all the libraries closed now. I bet nothing will be the same in them again. All the pre-reset information will disappear. Public Library, Phoenicians. So, they paid paradise, they put up a parking lot. Obviously I'm singing the Amy Grant version. And there it is. Glass ceiling so you can see. Shh! Shut the fuck up. Don't be fucking shushing me. I'm noisy when I'm quiet. No, ask anybody who knows me. I am. Even when I'm trying to be quiet, I would be really noisy. Crunching crisps would sound like fucking earthquakes. I don't do it deliberately, it's just me. So there you are, it's an amazing library. There's a narrative for it, but I can't bother reading because I'm not really in a moody mood. Look at this. Ready mood. So they give you the information. It's called now. Martin's got a thing like he just knows that there's something going on with librarians. They're librarians. I think these are holders of some information. They all look like scared when they see me. It's like, no, that's just normal. People do anyway. Now worse, especially with pandemic. Fuck me, I go into my local shop. The woman looked like, you know, she was going to fucking just... Well, she held her breath the entire time I went like that. With me, you know. It's hippie. He's bound to have the plague. Yeah, fucking... people. They're getting worse by the day as well. They're really coming unravelled. Here's a nice book for you all. We like a bit of colour on Flat Earth British. Now, time. perfect. We're going to possibly have a little visit. They've got a bit of a problem in the family, King and Queen Thumbykins. As you know, they've had a problem in the family, as in Charles, Thumb, their son, has the C virus. You may have heard in the news. So we'll pop in, see if they're alive. We said we'd come in a week later. They've been banged up for 2 weeks now, as you know. Queenie Thumb was doing embroidery the last time. She's changed her interests. And King Thumb was in the garage putting up a shelf, and he was a week into it because the first week she'd knocked him out. So this is a book of America, and they're supposed to have just arrived, okay, like, you know, the Phoenicians, and there's a whole world there, like nice double-decker, maybe three-story buildings, and these were supposed to be the Floridians, but they're not chowing down in this picture like you do in other books, you know, like I mean on, but they're not yet. So I'm guessing this is the Spanish. I don't know. They always turn up, they always look like really game pompous. I don't know what's going on with that. They always got like really weird clothes and stuff. So I'll just hold this over you, sire. Fucking do it yourself. And he guessed a steampunk bed. Or is this like, what the fuck? Steampunk bed. Okay, let's see if there's any giants or carnage. So this is your typical oh yes, we have a giant. These grey dudes, they are not only in America at this period, excuse me, they are in generate Macedon. Oh, they're all like it, are they? It's them grey guys again, guys. They're baldy and 7 foot tall. Spanish have just kidnapped them, make them work. They do that shit. If it is the Spanish, it might not be, it might be the French. It might be just Phoenicians, they're all like it anyway. They just proved they're all in the same fucking club together. These are all ganged up on humanity. She's got a silk skirt on. Oh, she gets a steampunk fucking thing as well. God, they're little, them women, aren't they? Little women. I suppose it could be children. Keep her cool in a wicker thing. Nice clothes. So, we having any carnage going down? Any munchification of nation? Munchification of nation inversion. Check this out. So, the occupants of America, Canarium, so that's Canaanites. And he's like, I got that nice moustache, and he's a white dude. She's white. He's white. She looks Indian. Ballerina. Bells on her ankles. I don't know what her last crown is. Is that India? Indus. Thank God. So the population of India are actually white at this period. You know, does he look Indian? He might be. So, what's he saying? Bummer. Fucking Armageddon. I don't like these pointy shoes they have in the Middle Ages either. Ridiculous, in fact. Oh yeah, that's oh, my husband's dead, I'll just jump over him because I loved him so much. Yeah? We'll just pour some oil on him, get him up there for you. Or it's like, I'm going in after him. I doubt that very fucking much. More steampunk stuff. Come on, I see somebody getting eaten. It is actually this period, but there don't seem to be too much going on. Maybe they just hid it in this book. Oh, these seem like they're at home. Where are we looking at? Ethiopians. Okay. What about these? Arabs, yes. Okay. They look about Arab in a nice green countryside. There's all the sand. Nothing ever fits, does it? Pre-events. Indians again. Anyway, I'm going to pass this on to you because time is getting on. But I know I don't mean to hurry. It's just I won't be able to get this up Friday night. I'm keeping you all. That's better. So it's mud flooded and shit to shit. We got them strange deities. Oh, we're going to see some carnage in the pagoda there. We're going to see some carnage going down now. Oh, there's a bull. That's never a good fucking sign. You heard about that before. Strange days indeed. Splatters your head, don't you, thinking about it? I've talked to a few people who are like, you know, wow, I don't even know what to think. I'm like, no shit. See? And what we've been looking into. Got loads of reasons to wonder what the hell now. Mobilising, lying, vaccines, 5 fucking G. And the idea that the dome could actually be coming down. And they're playing for time with the chemtrails. Oh, people are saying, well, the chemtrails are for a blue beam, they'll have an fake alien invasion not by Christmas, cause basically they still throwing that space bullshit yarn. I'm not saying nothing's turning up, guys, but it ain't coming from space, maybe through the watery beings. But tell you what, it ain't. I don't know. I have seen weird sort of things that look like greys. So I can't really say. And after the post-apocalyptic world, this is like basically these are brilliant stamps. They're like Piranesi. I think they might be Ballistita. And they show the mud-flooded world, and something has seriously hit this, and it's tsunamis and all the rest of these events I talked about in that previous book that I just gave you. And this is what it's done to civilization. Okay. It's talked about, it's written about by fucking John Strews, and it's engraved by Piranesi and this dude. So that's been a battle going on there. Battleage. Yeah, this is battleage. Which also causes destruction. Destruction is creative too. Causes... I created destruction. So, pass them to you because they're pretty. I thought they were longer actually. Now, looking at 2 images of the day, just got a few more things to talk about. I got links that I want to link up as well. For like, there's a few things like petitions and stuff as well that I will link up. Take a look at them, see what you think. With this narrative, I'm very careful what I say with the, you know, with the fucking virus, because we haven't got a clue. We just feel like we're sitting ducks waiting for something to come. So here's my website, okay, our website, Flat Earth British. Got a book in Amazon, and all of these things. Instagram's really busy lately. My Facebook, I post all of the juice of what I get every day on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, and I also got a Twitter account. You get on there. Pinterest, I'm on Reddit as well. Okay, so and you can get my book through Beauty Books as well. Okay, and donate if you so desire. Mudflood, Tataria, Firmament, Comets, Vache, Starfrost, Shapes, Antiquitech, Technasmia, Airships, Maps, Giants, World's Fairs, Science Words, Art, Architecture, Research, Fireplaces, Antiquitech, Water, Activities, News and Resources. All of in that resources is books and maps and collections by the thousand. It's massive resource, guys. Get in there if you don't know already. This is actually my son, Welsh Dragon Metals. Okay, he is now very valid. He's been doing apocalyptic currency, as in gold, so he's into salvaging, and now everything is very relevant. Okay, everything he's doing, getting gold for Armageddon currency for barter. Okay, it's cash. Bullshit, might get locked out of the system. I want to cashless currency, or you know, you don't toe the line in any fucking way. Skip to their tune, and they want you to do something insane with your life, and you don't. Yeah, they just blacklist your ass from existence. So this is a source for you as well. All of these are movies of San Francisco. Okay, some of them are street scenes and some of the events as well. Okay, Aftermath, Golgate Bridge, World of Tomorrow, World's Fair, etc. in there as well. To share with you, I'll link that up. Now we got Flat Earth British Think Tank channel, guys. Okay, just I got another channel as well, but they're fucking stupid. I can't be bothered, so I'm quite happy. So I put mirrors on my other. If you're wondering why I put so many of my other channels, my other videos off my other channel on yours, because they're sat on a hard drive and they're really juicy with stacks of good information, and it gives us somewhere to go for a couple of hours and hang out. We have a great time. Okay, it works out great. I done one day ago. There you are, it's just coming up with 4,000 views. These videos do really well, and I crank up live on this channel, and I do interviews like with Victor a week ago, right? And I put them all on this channel, so make sure to subscribe. I will link it up to Flat Earth British and my son as well, so get him a few subscribers. Moving on. Another resource as well I'm going to just link to you quick for San Francisco photography, which is all really amazing, and you can mag up and just slide through them. Gives you earthquake damage of mud flooders, etc. Okay, and you can go right in on them. And there is seemingly on fire because of an earthquake. You know, Palace Hotel in flames. Have you seen the Hotel Babylon in Paris? That's some hotel. So I'm going to look at this, guys, a minute. Time, 8 o'clock. I said I'd go live at 9, so I'll link that up. Okay, now, images of the day. I'm going to probably be quiet. I'm going to come back and do King Phone. This might have to go up a little bit later. Oh, bollocks. I talk too much. So, images. Now, what I'm going to try and do is just relax my mouth for a minute, show you some nice images, right, and then I'll be back with King and Queen Fun and the images of the day too. Does that make sense? Okay, let's check that one. Okay, enjoy.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it, many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
So we're repeating it. So I have got more images to show you. Give me a second. And they are sure. So we'll go through these manually because they're pretty nice and juicy. Doesn't want to scroll through. Just a second, please. Hope I'm not glitching up. And time is running out. Vloggage time. That's it. So I hope that music worked. I don't really know. I chose it. It was a really lovely track. I don't know how it developed though. It might have gone shit. I doubt it though. Hurry up. What the fuck? Oh, this is not fucking glitching my ass up. I gotta get on. Scrolling away. Oh, fuck that shit. Coming back. Show him next time anyway. So. Just making sure I'm not like sort of lagging. I'm a bit, aren't I? So yeah, that's my computer sort of knackering itself 50% CPU. I'm fine. So King and Queen firm. Okay, let me just recap and then we'll get to all of that. Okay, now San Francisco, is that the scenario that this city was infected with plague and there's some protocol to erase a city? And then where's the other population coming from? The uninfected? They move this? I just don't understand. But FEMA camps, a narrative of burning cities when they have plague, in the official narrative only 120 years ago. And the same Chinese narrative with plague, everything. So nothing new under the sun. Okay, and we looked at some other stuff. Okay, which is selected. No. And the comments. Okay, have a read of that book, guys. This is mind blowing. King and Queen firm. Okay, how are they developing? We said we'd come in and have a look, didn't we? You know, they've been a week, 2 weeks now, as you remember. When we caught up with them last week, they'd been in together for 5 days. Like I said, Queenie had taken up embroidery. She's changed. They've gone through some stages with this, you know, this reset. But you know, they stay optimistic. They're King, Queen firm, you know. But they got issues. But you know about all that, don't you? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't even worry. Okay. And there's King. He hasn't got any black eyes or nothing. In fact, they've been getting on really, really well. But they do stay apart a lot of the time. And plus their estate is like 6 square miles. So they don't really see a lot of one another. So But they get together today, every day, for tea, and to have a meet and have a chat about things. Okay, and see how they're getting on with their day, because, you know, basically it's the apocalypse and they're under house arrest and being locked in with one another for 2 weeks. So, there's Kingy. Hi, King. It's good to see you again. Hey, Martin. And Queenie. Oh, she's looking super good. Queenie fun. Okay, in case you haven't met them. So we're going to try and find out what's been going on with you two guys now, guys. All right. Now, I have been busy, but I can't really tell you what I've been doing. So, yeah, I haven't been around myself. I've been still in the garage. Oh, you're still putting up that shelf, them 3-piece? No. I'm building a model. I'm building a model on a table of the Battle of Rorke's Drift. So I have to paint at least a couple of thousand soldiers. At least a couple of thousand soldiers I have to paint. I'm on the Dragoon Guards right now, and it's some undertaking. I've been a week solid, so that's what I've been doing. Yeah, are you sure about this? No, I'm not building a fluffy sex dungeon at all. Oh, where did that come from? Oh, maybe that's because I've been, what? That's because I've been sniffing varnish. You've been sniffing varnish? Yeah, don't worry. It won't kill you, but it gives you, if you do, it gives you a lovely finish. Oh, that's alright then. So, have you heard, oh, what's that, love? Have you heard about our Charles? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I heard about our Charles, alright. Apparently he's got that virus, hasn't he? Yeah, he's banned from here. He's banned from here. He's not going to bring the coronavirus. We haven't been locked in here all this time together to catch it now. Yeah, and I hear that also Andrew is locked up in Balmoral Castle with a disease called Jennifer 14. Is this correct? Yeah, but that is not in good taste and not even funny, is it? No, I'm sorry. So, what was that about that fluffy sex dungeon? No, I mean Battle of Rorke's Drift. I've been high. I've been sniffing varnish. Again, this thing's driving me nuts and I've run out of weed. Yeah, I know. I'm getting like that, love. Look at me. So what have you been up to then, love? You ought to be quiet. You don't say much of what you're doing, do you? What's that, love? What's what? That banging I just heard. Oh, that. Oh, that's the postman. The postman, love. Yeah, I'm keeping him in the closet. I'm keeping him because I haven't had anyone to talk to, you see. You just haven't been around and I get lonely, so I'm keeping the postman. He's my postman anyway, isn't he? Yeah. He's my postman anyway, and I'm locking him in the closet, and he's keeping me company. We're talking all the time. Okay, so I'm got myself a postman. Okay, and I'm really happy with him, and I'm not letting him go ever. Okay then, well, I'm going back to my garage that is not really a fluffy sex dungeon, but is actually a model of Rorke's Drift, and I'm working on painting the Dragoon Guards and going back to sniffing my varnish. Okay, love, sounds like a plan. I'm not going back to the cupboard to talk to my postman at all, okay, because I haven't got a postman locked in the cupboard for any reason other than to talk to. Yeah, I got you, love. I wasn't thinking like that anyway. No, of course you weren't, love. Because you're not going to your fluffy sex dungeon. You're going to your model, aren't you? Yes, that's right, love. Okay, then. On you go. Okay, then. Bye, love. Bye. So, as you can see, they keep themselves well occupied. Everything's going along fine, and they haven't got infected, and they're alive, and they've been eating well. Okay, but they have been keeping busy. Okay. Like on Rorke's Drift, and she hasn't got a postman locked in a cupboard for any unusual reasons. Okay, he's the queen. Right. So there are more images today. 10:10. I'll see you in about 45 minutes, half an hour. Right. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay. Sorry about the strangeness. It's just flat with British, and it is Armageddon. So I got this like thing going on now. I suppose like survival mode level. I really don't give a fuck, and I was bad enough in the beginning, but now I'm a lot better. I was going to say worse, but no, I'm a lot better. Okay, as in not giving a flying fuck. Believe in that bullshit, keep your vibration high. If you got doubts, right, don't have doubts, have a positive outcome. If you know, you're cracking up because you think, oh, this is too much, email martinliga7@gmail.com. I'll put it in the descriptions box. I'll give you the word to the wise, okay? It's only natural, it's bigger than us, so don't even worry about it. Peace and love, and be good, guys. I'll be back very soon. Keep an eye on my other channel as well, okay? Peace and love.